This message holds a significant importance, but the irony of Andrew Lloyd Webber being the messenger cannot be overlooked. Despite his legendary status in the musical world, his involvement actually exasperates the issues, as he is in many ways a part of the very problem we're addressing. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Performance Perspective, where we watch different performances and then we share our perspectives. If you're new here, hi, I'm Carolyn, but you could call me Care. And yes, I'm wearing a robe. And also, if you've been following me, I've been doing Reactmas, which is me reacting to different performances during the holiday season. And that, I don't know why I did it. It's a lot of work. It's fun. And so I hope you are enjoying it, but I'm so excited to talk about this article. And yes, link is in the description so you can read it on your own. So Andrew Lloyd Webber, the musical theater giant, recently stirred the pot big time. At the Global Investment Summit, he called Broadway almost a vanity project. Now that's a bold statement from someone who's practically Broadway's royalty. This has got everyone in the comment section buzzing and addressing not Broadway's current scene, but the role Webber himself plays in this main phrase that people were saying was, well, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? He's saying that Broadway's turning into kind of an exclusive club for mega hits like The Lion King and Hamilton. It's no secret that the theater community has been grappling with the sky-high costs and risks of bringing new shows to Broadway. Webber throws in his eye-popping figure of $20 million to put on a musical. That's a huge hurdle for a fresh production trying to make their mark. But here's the thing, we've got to consider where Webber's coming from with this. Andrew Lloyd Webber's recent Broadway escapades really color his take on things, don't they? This whole situation is layered to say the least. On the one hand, he's hitting the nail on the head about the massive financial hurdles that the new shows face, but there's another side to this. Broadway, let's be real, treats his shows differently. Bad Cinderella? If that didn't have the Webber stamp on it, I bet it wouldn't have seen the lights of Broadway and the West End. It's a bit of a reality check. His name opens doors that might stay firmly closed for new, unattested talent. It makes you think, is Broadway really giving everyone a fair shot, or is it all about who you know and what you've already done? It's a conversation we need to have because Broadway should be about fresh ideas and raw talent, not just who's got the biggest name in the biz. So while Webber's pointing out a harsh reality, it also makes me wonder, are we losing sight of the raw creative energy that's supposed to be the heart of Broadway? It's a tough balance to strike. We want those blockbuster shows, but we also need to keep the stage open for new voices and daring ideas. After all, today's Hamilton was once just a glimmer in Lin-Manuel Miranda's eye, so let's keep the conversation going and remember why we all fell in love with Broadway in the first place. It's all about the blend of glitz, heart, and pure unadulterated theatrical magic. Here's something interesting. Andrew Lloyd Webber's dropping his critique at a time when, get this, none of his musicals are on Broadway. Coincidence? I'm not so sure. This might be shading his view a bit, especially when you look at what's been happening with his latest projects. His recent show kicked off in the West End but didn't really set the box office on fire. He admits it might have been a costly mistake, but he's still like, I'm proud of what we did, and big thanks to everyone who had my back.
But Andrew asked me if I would read a letter that he sent. Be nice. This is from Andrew. I am hugely sorry not to be able to be with you today, but I want to thank everyone from our fabulous cast, crew and musicians, the superb creative team, Lawrence, that's me, Joanne, Emerald, David, Gabriella, Gareth and Bruno. I keep thinking if only we had opened 3 months later, we wouldn't have had to postpone our opening twice because of COVID. If only we hadn't had to close for a month over Christmas and New Year, once again thanks to COVID, and if only we had had crumb of help from the recovery fund, I promise you we would have been here for a very long time to come. Anyway, my huge thanks to everyone. It might have been a costly mistake, but I am proud of what we did and will forever be grateful to everyone who supported me. Cinderella got some of the best reviews of my career, and I am immensely proud of it, and it's hugely due to you all. All my love, Andrew.
Now, when he called it a costly mistake, that definitely raised some eyebrows in the crowd, and you should have seen the looks on the faces of the cast standing on stage, a mix of surprise and confusion. It's not every day you hear a theater legend owning up to a misstep, but blaming it on everything else around him without him even being there. So what does he do? He packs it up and ships it to Broadway, but let's call it what it is. This isn't a stroke of genius. It's more like a desperate attempt to salvage a sinking ship. He tried to spruce it up for Broadway, sure, but even those changes couldn't save it. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. Now, everyone's talking about the stark differences between the theater scenes. It's a glaring reminder that what works in one place can totally flop in another. Weber's move here isn't just bold, it's borderline oblivious, ignoring the glaring issues in his show. Andrew Lloyd Webber's latest comments, they're missing the bigger picture of Broadway's whole scene. Look, Broadway's been like a second home to him, right? His shows, Phantom of the Opera, Cats, they're iconic, but his critique, it's kind of glossing over his two-way street he's had with Broadway for years. Thanks to his hits, Broadway's practically rolled out the red carpet for whatever he dreams up next. But what worked in the 80s and 90s, that's old news. Broadway's not just about big-name musicals, it's also where smaller, bolder shows get their shot. So calling Broadway a vanity project, I don't buy it, but greed? Now that's a different story. It's all about the money now. We're drowning in jukebox musicals, celebrity stunt casting, and endless revivals. It's like if it made money once, why not milk it dry? Weber's pointing out a problem, sure, but he's not addressing the real issue. Broadway's got a serious case of greed. A few months back, I did an episode on Jay-Z's plans to bring a casino to Times Square. I mean, talk about New York City morphing into Vegas, right? And now, Broadway shows? They're following suit, turning into something you'd see on a Vegas strip. If you're curious about my take on this whole transformation, definitely check out that episode. Andrew Lloyd Webber is pushing for more investment in British theater and government backing, and honestly, he's got a point.
I'm a bit worried about the future of Broadway. The running costs are so incredibly high, so Broadway is going to turn into the equivalent of Fifth Avenue, where, if you want to create a brand, you put it on Broadway, knowing you're not ever going to really make any much money in it, but they have to be there.
He's talking about the huge impact theater investment has on the UK's economy. Get this, for every pound spent on a theater ticket, there's an extra £1.40 pumped into the local economy. That's a pretty solid case for the arts being more than just culture. They're a major economic player. I mean, imagine if our government stepped up like that to fund theater shows. Sounds great, but that's not the magic fix for Broadway's deeper issues. Here's the thing. Broadway's playing a bit of a hypocritical game. They're all about these movie to musical adaptations and musicals created to fit a catalog of music. Think Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Neil Diamond, and Britney Spears. Then they think they're being forward-thinking, modernizing shows to reel people in, but then when it comes to releasing pro shots in cinemas, suddenly it's a no-go. Bad for business, they say. Now, they're theater purists? Afraid to see their shows on platforms like Broadway HD? That's just bizarre to me. It's like they're chasing dollars, but then slamming the door on a chance to expand their audience and revenue. If a show shies away from being recorded, it makes you wonder, is it really that good? Maybe the government should consider supporting theaters that want to create pro shots. That could be a game changer, boosting the economy on a global scale. So wrapping this up, Andrew Lloyd Webber's got a point calling Broadway a vanity project, especially with the financial and artistic hurdles it's facing. But we've got to take his comments with a pinch of salt, considering his recent Broadway woes. The fact that none of his shows are on Broadway now and the whole bad Cinderella situation, It adds a different dimension to his words. It's a mix of personal setbacks and industry-wide issues. The theater world is constantly evolving. The big challenge for Broadway and theaters everywhere is finding that sweet spot between making money and staying true to the art. It's a tightrope walk, but one that's crucial for keeping the magic of theater alive. All right, darlings, that's the scoop on the latest theater buzz. Fascinating stuff, right? I'd love to hear your take on it. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you know, there's always more juicy theater news on the horizon for us to dive into. Can't wait to chat about the next big thing with you all. And it's raining today. Can you tell? It's all like gray and misty. But anyways, without further ado, take care, darling.